Good evening, friends. Welcome to Bollywood Talent Club's live on air. Today is Wednesday, May 3rd, 2023. It's 10:26 p.m. New York time. Dosto, we are excited to bring in our friends Raj and Anna Sawa, co-founders of Hunger Mitao, tonight at this hour. We are on air now. All right. So these are very people who are into social kind of a life where they want to improve people's understanding of hunger. All right, so without further delay, let me bring on our guests here. It's going to be, okay, one second. I'm checking out here. We have Raj and Anna Asawak. Hi, how are you guys? You're on air.
Very well, Doc. How are you?
I,
Very good.
I'm
Very
okay.
good,
I'm okay.
Dr.
Very
Mehta.
nice. Okay. So we also welcome viewers who are watching here to please ask questions about this very interesting program, dosto. It's Feed America, I guess, if I'm not mistaken, all right? And they are on a path to really eradicate hunger globally. Please go ahead, Raj, say something about this project so that people can understand. All right, go ahead.
Definitely. First of all, thank you very much for the opportunity. Can you hear me okay, doctor?
Sure. Yes, very clear.
Wonderful. First of all, thank you very much for this opportunity. Both Anna, who is, her real name is Aradhana.
All right.
Both Anna and I are excited to be here on this show, especially because we are going to be in your beautiful city next week.
Okay.
And we'll talk more about that a little bit later.
Right.
But as you mentioned, what is Hunger Mitao? So before I jump into Hunger Mitao, let me share a little bit about our background
Gee.
for the benefit of your audience
Mhm.
at a very high level. I left India in 1974.
Gee.
एंड द लास्ट पिक्चर जो मैंने आखिरी पिक्चर इंडिया में देखी थी वो पिक्चर थी कोरा कागज
Oh my God. Okay. Uh-huh.
और उस समय राजेश खन्ना अभी सुपरस्टार थे
जी.
मगर ही वाज बीइंग डिथ्रोन्ड बाय अमिताभ बच्चन
Correct.
एंड his movie that was really like blowing all the records was Abhiman.
Uh-huh.
Mere mere milan kiye rehna.
Oh
That
my
was the
God.
song.
Okay.
That was like the rocking song. So it was in that year that I came to America. And if you look at it fast forward, that was in 74.
Okay.
We are in 2023. So
Gee.
I have been in this country for 49 years.
God bless you. Good. Okay. Very good.
मैं यहाँ पे आया था
जी.
एक बड़े इंटरेस्टिंग क्या बोलते प्रोग्राम के थ्रू
जी.
इट वाज कॉल्ड द फ्लाई नाउ पे लेटर टिकट
एयर इंडिया.
नहीं इट वाज एक्चुअली TWA.
अच्छा. ओके.
और वो सिंडिकेट बैंक के थ्रू मेरे पिताजी ने मुझे लोन दिलाया
जी.
और मुझे है ना रवाना कर दिया अमेरिका के लिए.
जी.
अगर इमेजिन कीजिए आप कई लोग बोलते हैं भैया मैं इमिग्रेंट स्टोरी में जब आया था 2 सूटकेसेस थे $8 थे.
Correct.
Well, the day I landed in America, I was already in debt.
No kidding. Okay. Uh-huh.
So the very first thing I could do was find myself the first job I could get,
Gee.
and it was a dishwasher. I was working as a dishwasher
Okay.
in a very large hospital in
Acha.
Michigan.
Michigan. Okay. Uh-huh.
Ji.
जी.
Or fast forward in 2009, I retired as the chief strategy officer
जी.
for Ross Perot at
Oh.
Perot Systems.
Okay. Rossboro. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this is truly a country of opportunities. Now, for me to go from being a dishwasher to the chief strategy officer for a very large organization.
Wow.
Aradhana here, she joined me in 1982. And she too had a very successful career.
Right.
She retired in a year ahead of me
Gee.
in 2009
Gee.
as an executive at EDS HP.
Wow. Acha. Hewlett Packard.
Yeah.
Wow, man. Okay. Good. Very good
So
background. Okay.
अभी मैं कुछ initially बोल रहा हूँ उसके बाद I'll turn it over to Aradhana to talk more about Hunger Mitao.
जी.
But I wanted to share something very interesting for with your listeners.
जी.
अब देखिए तकरीबन 15 साल पहले की बात है हम लोग दोनों लॉस एंजलिस में थे
जी.
एक कॉन्फ्रेंस में
Mm-hmm.
और उस कॉन्फ्रेंस में एक कोई इंडियन स्कॉलर गुरुजी
जी.
he was speaking and we saw him for the first time.
अच्छा.
उन्होंने उस कॉन्फ्रेंस में उस जब वहां अपने स्पीच में 3 शब्द कहे 3 words
अच्छा.
that transformed our lives.
No kidding, huh?
And I want to share that with your audience.
Good. Okay.
He said a human life is best lived in three stages, overlapping stages.
Right.
And those are learning, earning, and returning.
Beautiful. Learning, earning, returning. Okay.
As simple as that. Us din, both Aradhana and I decided,
Ji.
life, nothing is going to go with us.
Uh-huh.
So there comes a time when we have to, dil khol ke, we have to return back. And it is not just returning back like through money, it is returning to make the community, make the next generation, give them a better platform.
Good. Yes.
So returning is also through our experiences, lessons learned, mentoring the next generation, etc.
Ji.
So उसी लिए करीब 2010 में when I retired and I joined Aradhana in retirement,
Ji.
we started focusing on some philanthropy.
Mm-hmm.
Or हमारी philanthropy was more towards causes in India because the need was very apparent.
Ji.
But 7 years ago, I was having lunch with our local mayor,
Ji.
and he asked me to support his backpack program.
You may want to also let him know where we live.
Yeah, we live in Plano,
Texas.
Plano, Texas.
Texas.
So Plano के mayors के साथ है ना, I had lunch.
And Plano is a very affluent city.
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
More than Dallas?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Plano is where almost seems like everybody in the world is coming. And just north of Plano, you must have heard,
Okay.
Universal Studio is also coming here now.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
So it is really thriving. All you see is affluency around us.
Acha. Okay.
तो जब ये मेयर ने हमसे पूछा कि ना उनके बैकपैक प्रोग्राम को सपोर्ट करने के लिए, तो मैंने समझा कोई मार्केटिंग गिमिक होगा, आखिर अमेरिका में मार्केटिंग इज वेरी बिग. तो उसने मुझे करेक्ट किया, he said, no Raj, I'm talking about a backpack filled with enough food for a child to last for the weekend.
Oh, that's nice. Okay.
तो मैंने उससे कहा कि भाई इसका मतलब that could be in a rough neighborhood, downtown area वगैरह वगैरह. तो मुझे करेक्ट किया, उसने कहा no Raj, I'm talking about children going to school where your children went, where my children are going.
Acha.
And like very nice neighborhoods and a very good schooling system. तो मैं घर आके अपनी धर्मपत्नी को कहा कि भाई ये देखिए, I heard that there is so much hunger issue. 1 in 4 school-going children did not know where their next meal is coming from. Friday when they leave, their next meal is Monday when they come back. So Anna then decided to invite and get to the bottom of this, right?
Can I ask you one question, Raj, on this?
Yeah,
You
please.
said the schools means not talking about affluent schools, right? Talking about little down.
No. I'm talking
It's
about
every ISD, every school in every ISD.
yes.
Oh, really? Oh my God.
Yes.
And the reason they have food
Mhm.
when they are in school is because most schools participate in the reduced
Haha,
fee lunches.
correct.
And so they qualify and they are able to eat there. But over the weekend, we don't know what their home conditions are. And, they come back hungry on Monday.
Oh no. All right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I think I have a question here. Okay. Can I just read it out a little bit? Oh,
Please.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, that's very interesting. That I think we met, I guess, in Texas, right? In Dallas, I think one of the get-togethers with Dr. Raj and Dr. Shika, right? I mean, I remember.
Yes, exactly. That's when we met. Yeah, that's when we exchanged numbers.
I know, that's interesting. Almost 3 years हो गए यार. Okay, here
बिल्कुल.
she writes, so it's a great cause these guys are working for. They're also motivating communities, including children. We also hope to volunteer and contribute to this cause. Is there any program to help them to become self-sufficient and hunger becomes a thing of past? Number one. Okay, just put a first question. The second question is if there is a lack of volunteers in some areas, how do you plan to get help for them? And one more is there, she wrote, another curiosity is, does this program provide boxed and canned items, or there are kitchen facilities also? I was thinking of langar served by Sikh community in India. So please go ahead. Any one of you can answer this. Go ahead.
So, एक काम करते हैं, if I may, for the benefit of the listeners,
Ji.
just quickly tell you about the Hunger Mitao model and
Ji.
how we are working with the food bank.
Okay.
And then we'll definitely get to these questions.
Okay. So what we could do is I can write that hungermitao.org, right, on their
Yes.
WhatsApp. Okay, then they can. Okay, I can do that. Yes. Continue, please, Raj. Or
Definitely.
go ahead, please.
So we will kind of fast forward, just kind of quickly share with you. And I want to talk about getting everybody together.
Sure. So we decided to dig deep when we heard about so much hunger in our neighborhoods, because we don't see hunger here. You know, in India, you see hunger everywhere.
Correct.
But the hunger here is different. You know, people live in a house with a roof, in an apartment or whatever, and they could still be hungry because they don't make enough. Minimum wages are not keeping up with the expense ratios. So we invited the mayor, several physicians from an Indian physician group, because Raj told them, hey, you know, if hunger is truly an issue, it'll turn into a health issue sooner or later, so you need to be in the room.
Correct.
And we also invited a leader from our local food bank to come talk to us. And we all gathered over a meal, and she started talking statistics, showing some slides, and numbers were shocking. The first couple of slides, because 850,000 people in the 13 counties that our food bank serves were going hungry, and they needed charitable food assistance.
Can I ask you one question, Anna? The hunger situation compared to India, how would you really try to gauge it? I mean, see, people are really very hungry. They hear the federal programs are there, the food stamps are there. So are they not trying to play any part in these programs?
I think when it comes to hunger, it's kind of hard to make a comparison because it's such an immediate need.
Acha.
Right? At that point, when somebody is hungry, they're hungry.
Okay.
And one of the main reasons why we see so much obesity in the USA is because they're trying to eat whatever they can with the very limited resources.
Unhealthy food. Okay.
Right? So the cheap food, the zero nutrition food, and high sodium and all the processed stuff. So I find it difficult to compare hunger. I think it just hits us in the gut when we see people in India and here, unless you go dig for that information, we are oblivious.
Correct.
I mean, Raj mentioned he's lived in the USA for 49 years. It wasn't until 7.5 years ago that he discovered there's hunger around us. So, you know, it's just
So
when
actually,
you discover it.
That evening was a transformational evening for us, because after the food bank person gave us all the stats, right, she actually showed us the backpack in which there was small boxes of juices, granola bar. You know, as she passed it around, I mean, when people looked in it, there was not a single dry eye that, you know, in the room.
Oh my God.
We were shocked. We were shocked to learn that, you know, young kids, young children, you know, they were helping themselves to, you know, have meals through this backpack program. That night, Aradhana, go ahead. You have a question?
I'm sorry to interrupt. But actually, USA being the superpower, Raj, right? Don't you think it's shameful around the world to really project this kind of situation? People are hungry, children are hungry.
It is. And unfortunately, it's become such a political situation.
Oh, okay.
That is very unfortunate. We grow enough food to feed everybody around the world.
Yes.
And so much of our food is wasted. There's inequity. There are food deserts. Supermarkets will not open a store in an area that is not financially viable for them.
Acha, economics. Okay.
You know, all the issues are so complex. I mean, you know, people are not paid enough in minimum wages. People are working 3 jobs, but because they are working part-time hours in each job, they don't get medical insurance.
Oh, right. Okay.
So, you know, when you spend some time thinking about all of these contributing causes, it's not a surprise anymore.
Okay. It's pathetic and pathetic, really. Okay, go ahead, Raj, please go ahead. Yeah.
Welcome. So actually, Usama, you know, one thing that struck to both Aradhana and I was that, you know, it took us so long to actually learn about the hunger issue. Right? So we went and got more involved with the food bank. We started volunteering. We started doing food drives. We started donating. And one thing we noticed was there were not too many people of Indian origin along with us who were also doing this. And we were wondering why that is. And then it struck us
Ji.
that just like how we were unaware of the hunger issue, right? Very likely our brothers and sisters from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka,
Asia, South Asia.
Asia, etc., right? They are also probably not aware
Ignorant.
of it.
Okay, one second.
So
One second.
once we were convinced,
One second, Raj. Nina, if you'd like to join on Zoom, please do so. You have the link here, 738-427-3191. So if you're prepared to join the conversation, you're welcome. I'll include you in. Okay, go ahead, please. Sorry, Raj.
right. So once we, realized that, we wanted to see what is the solution here, because we did not want to fall in the trap of let's make sandwiches. ठीक है, sandwiches बना दिए, एक दिन खिला देंगे, right? What happens the next day?
Right.
Next time they are hungry. So we wanted to find a systemic solution, and that's when we found out that the food banks and the Feeding America network does a very good job of making sure that nutritious food is available to everyone who needs it in every zip code across the country.
It's a major project. Huh? It's very nice.
Oh, exactly. So when we did our due diligence and when we saw that it's a very well run machine, so what we decided to do was we wrote a check of $100,000. We gave it to the food bank, and we said we want to propose an idea of engaging the community. So we said, besides our money, we don't want to be one and done. We also want to give 3 years of our lives in raising awareness of the hunger issue within one community.
That's the key.
And then getting them involved with the food banks to support them, rather than trying to create independent duplicate initiatives.
Okay.
They loved our idea. They said, we have always been trying to crack the code of how to involve the community. But this is something great because the community member is stepping up and offering that. They said, please go ahead and let us know how we can help. So in 2017, on September 29, a small get-together at a friend's home in his backyard, we launched this movement called Hunger Mitao. And what is Hunger Mitao? Hunger Mitao is not a separate 501c3 or not an organization.
Okay.
It is a pure movement.
Okay.
It is a movement to raise awareness within a community about the hunger issue in our adopted land, and then showing people different ways that they can help. Because, most people say, oh, you want me to make a donation. I say, frankly speaking, donation is the last thing. But engagement is more important.
Physically.
So first of all, don't be an ignorant community. Be aware that your next door neighbor may have just been laid off by Google or by Facebook.
Correct.
And now suddenly the person and his family have to make a decision between medicine, mortgage, and food. Typically, it is food that suffers.
Correct. Okay.
So we then basically, the day after we launched it, one other thing was we chose to work with the Indian community because we come from India.
Right.
And we know the psyche of the Indian community. We are the Bollywood people. We are the cricketers. We are the goal-oriented people.
Correct.
So at the day of launch, we took a bold move, Aradhana and I. We made a commitment on behalf of the Indian community that the Indian community will provide 1 million meals.
Okay, yeah. Right, correct. Okay.
The Indian community provide 1 million meals.
Anna, to your right, Anna. Okay. Yes, perfect. I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry,
And then the very next day, we both got started and started conducting awareness sessions. Whether it is 2 people at Starbucks or 20,000 people at the local football stadium, we went and spoke.
That's interesting.
And talked about the hunger issue across the country. So by the way, हम अभी आपके साथ North Texas की बात कर रहे हैं, but guess what? We are also working in New York City. We are also working in Seattle. We are also working in Detroit,
Atlanta,
Houston,
and Tarrant area. So we are working in 7 food banks.
7 food banks.
And the intention is everywhere we work, we are trying to get the Indian community in those cities become aware of the hunger around us here. And everybody has the same reaction.
Okay.
They say, what? Where is hunger?
I have a question. We're talking more about Indian community here. Are we talking including as an Asian community to be involved in this, or just exclusive Indian community? That I want to just make sure, because there are a lot of
other... the goal was to start with one community.
Okay,
Because
okay.
my background is strategy.
Ji.
One of the first thing we do in strategy is we have to have a scope of whatever the boundary condition.
Acha.
Because if it is to raise awareness across all the communities, well, that is the job of the food bank. They're already doing that.
Okay.
They have billboards and they have advertisement. So we said, let us just get more intimately engaged with one community.
Okay.
Be able to go to their festivals, like we would go to Diwali get-togethers,
Right.
Holi, to Baisakhi,
Eid and-
Eid.
yeah.
Right?
Acha.
We used to go to all of these places.
Oh.
People invited us. We went and spoke for
That's-
5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever time they gave us
Correct.
about the hunger issue. And we told them, paisa aate rahega. How about volunteering?
Ji.
Come and volunteer at the food bank, right? When we celebrate our festivals, when we celebrate our birthdays, anniversary, how about thinking about those who are struggling? And
Unfortunate.
maybe donate a can of beans or a jar of peanut butter for the needy, right? So those are the messages that we started delivering, because our message to people was, number one, be aware of the hunger issue. Number two, every one of us can do something, whether we do it physically, whether we do it through a checkbook, or whether we do it through becoming an ambassador, and they are lending their voice to raise awareness.
Now the question.
Like today, you are helping us out so much by giving us this platform
Ji.
through which many more people will
Of course,
hear
of
about
course,
us.
of course, of course. The
Right?
question, Raj, is the people who are hungry is supposed to contact the food bank, or the food bank is supposed to contact the people who are hungry?
So that's a very good question. I'm going to turn it over to the member of the board
Acha.
of food bank. Aradha is actually a board member
Good.
at a local food bank, so she can explain that.
Yes, go ahead,
So-
please.
A food bank should be thought of as a distribution center,
Okay.
right? So all the large donations from the Kroger, from Walmart, from the Dairy Association, from people like you and me, we give our donations to the food bank, and the food bank then our food bank works with almost 400 programs,
Pantries.
Wow.
200 of which are pantries, which could be churches, places of worship, shelters, boys and girls clubs, any such place. So those, we call them pantries. Those pantries place an order with the food bank to say, this is how many hungry people I'm serving. This is how much I need from you. And the food bank moves that inventory to the pantries, and the people who live in that area come to that particular pantry and receive their food.
How are they informed, the people in the area? There's kind of communication, notification going to those people there?
So pantries are not just supported by the food bank as soon as they form.
Right.
Pantries have to show that there is need in that area. So, people can just go to the website of the food bank and put their own address in, and it will show them the nearest pantry.
Achha. Okay. Now, my better question here, there are a lot of people still who don't have kind of access to internet, to go on websites. Are they being notified through mail, or volunteers go to their places?
Yeah.
They are notified through their churches,
Okay.
schools. Every place we can put flyers, we put flyers out.
Very interesting.
And nowadays, even if they don't have a computer, everybody has a smartphone.
Okay.
And there are ways that they can find out.
Beautiful. Very good. And one more question, Anna, is you said there is one central food bank, right? And the pantries are around that. So this thing applies to all the states in the United States, or one particular, all around? Okay.
There are 200 food banks
Across the country.
across USA.
Achha. Okay.
And each food bank covers their allotted area.
Ji.
And they make sure that people in that area, based on donations that the food bank receives,
Ji.
receive food when they need it, where they need it.
Right. And so आप ये सोचिए कि on average
Ji.
200 food banks across the country, and then each food bank has maybe 400-500 pantries or school programs in that area.
Huge, bro. That's very
Very,
interesting. Raj.
very large. Feeding America is the umbrella organization over all the food banks.
Okay.
अब जब आप उनकी report पढ़ेंगे तो you will find out that 1.5 billion meals were served last year.
Oh God, oh my goodness.
I mean, the food bank here in North Texas
Gee,
served 130 million meals last year in just 13 counties. Not even all of Texas, not even all of Dallas.
but my question, I'm sorry, I'm trying to put a question on behalf of I'm trying to act as a listener as well as a conduct the program. Some people they just keep walking. There's a free food. He'll just walk in there and eat. He may not be hungry, but he was just at lunchtime he was away. So that is possible to Raj.
It is possible.
Okay, okay.
However, before COVID, every pantry had its own process. People had to show need,
Okay, okay.
right? Whether it was their financials or however, they had to show that they fell below the poverty line.
Requirement was there. Okay, okay.
Right.
Good,
Now,
good.
when COVID hit, we did away with all these requirements, right? Because during COVID, it was like, let's just get people some food.
Correct.
So during COVID, were these long, the mega distributions happened where, in a large parking lot, the food bank would just take kitted, boxed groceries, and people would line up in their cars, no questions asked. People would wait for
Yes, I saw that.
hours.
I saw that. Yes,
Right?
I saw that,
So, they would just be asked how many families they're picking up for, and the food would be put in their trunk.
yes. Okay, I have an interesting question here. Any one of you can answer this. 1 second, I'm going to read it out. Okay.
Sure.
1 second, Raj. She writes here, on a smaller scale, your next door neighbors in a community may have circumstances that make them go hungry. They are not comfortable asking for government assistance. The question is, how would you recognize that? Number one. Number two question is, how would you help them?
Yeah.
It's difficult. If somebody is not willing to ask or seek assistance, it's difficult to help them. But food banks doing an amazing job advertising. If you need food, contact this number or, go to this website. And there's a lot of ways where it's anonymity is almost guaranteed because nobody wants to take their dignity away.
Exactly.
But with Raj and I, we recognize that in Desi communities, people find it very difficult to ask for help.
For everything, yeah.
For anything.
Yes, yes, I agree
right?
with you. Yes.
For anything. But we keep promoting this that, hey, there's no shame in this, right? Please seek assistance. This is a country where if you seek assistance, there's so many programs around us.
Exactly. Make them aware. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
so we also do that.
Yes. I have a question also, Raj.
Yeah.
And,
Go ahead.
people who want to donate,
Yes.
if they could get the addresses through you guys, the food bank, can people call on Amazon and have them deliver their groceries there?
Yes.
So there are
okay, that's
multiple
another
ways
pro-
to do
okay,
it.
okay.
Here,
People
let
do
me
not-
kind of share a couple things here.
Gee.
So, as I mentioned to you before, Hunger Mitav is not an organization.
Okay.
So, very unique thing about Hunger Mitav is that we don't touch any money.
Okay.
So we connect the community with the food bank, or we connect the community with the Feeding America, the broader
Umbrella.
organization,
Okay.
right? And then we encourage that people to go and volunteer at their local food bank. We encourage them to do food drives and drop off the food at their food bank. We encourage them to donate to the food bank.
Financially,
Right?
money wise too.
Yes.
Yes,
money
exactly.
also.
Money also. Right? We encourage that. So everything goes directly to food bank. 100% of is utilized by food bank. And food bank also has a phenomenal purchasing power. So rather than us going out and buying it at Walmart or Kroger, etc., spending gas, our time, and then trying to find things on sale, the local food bank here in Texas, it can provide 3 nutritious meals
Gee.
to the food challenged people for just $1.
Okay, I have a question here. Raj or Aradhna can answer this. Another from Missouri State. She writes, the doctor, most of the food pantries cater to the American community. What about the food for the Asian community whose choice of food is different? Are they catering to them as well? Okay.
Thank you so much for asking
Yes,
that question.
whoever said that, thank you so much.
It's a passion with both of us. And I have to tell you, this is an initiative at every food bank today. They all recognize that they need to have culturally relevant food
Okay.
for people because, when somebody is stressed
Ji.
with lack of food, the last thing you want to do is take their familiar items away also.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
But for this, people of different regional communities have to be involved.
Ji.
Right? Because when I do a food drive, I may decide that I want to donate groceries from an Indian or Desi store.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
We also, since we work with the board of North Texas Food Bank, we are also connecting them with Asian produce companies,
Ji.
distribution companies.
Uh-huh.
So, because, produce, it only has a very limited shelf life.
Uh-huh.
So before it's wasted or spoiled,
Ji.
we want them to donate it to the food bank.
Right. So the two parts of the equation. One is getting culturally sensitive food into the food bank, and second, knowing where that food will be consumed, because you cannot take a chawal dal and that type of and give it to an American and expect them to go home and cook it because they wouldn't know what to do with it.
Correct.
So we are actually, in fact, we earmarked our donation, Aradhna and I, to the food bank in the Houston area, for example,
Right.
to work on culture, to understand the cultural sensitivity of different regions that they are serving.
Ji.
Then make sure that at least some element of food is something that they recognize, they are comfortable with. Especially, for example, there has been a lot of inflow of refugees from Afghan and other areas.
Right.
So, we wanted to make sure that, the food banks understand what are their nutritional need, what are their food need, and then figure out a way to make sure that at least some portion of food that is given to those families are familiar to them. So we are working on it, but like they say in India, abhi Delhi dur hai.
Acha.
Yeah, but there's a big focus on that.
Raj,
Yeah.
I have a question, just a thought,
Yeah.
कि जिस तरह ये लोग कर रहे हैं through Hunger Mitao and through Feed
Yeah.
America, can we have a food bank for Indian or Asian community as well as a project to start an experimental and see how it works out?
Sure. I think we can create a pantry.
Uh-huh,
So by all means, I think we need leaders to step up. And if we feel that, by the way, I want to share some interesting statistics about New York City.
Exactly.
We work very close with them.
Acha.
Hunger Mitao has raised 4 million meals in New York City
Food bank.
for the people challenged there in the last 5 years. So we are very passionate about working with the New York City. We were shocked to learn
Ji.
that in New York City, I believe 18% of the population
Ji.
is food challenged. Food challenge means basically they are struggling
Shortage.
to put
Okay.
food on the family table.
Right.
18%. I also then found out that the Indian community in New York City,
Ji.
18% of them are also food challenged. That means our Indian community in the New York City is also facing the same struggles, right?
Another question, Raj. I'm sorry, I'm putting a lot of questions on behalf of the
No,
people.
please do.
Now, the
Please.
question, Aradhna, to you and Raj is, when you go to a food bank, right, a pantry or whatever, can they bring the food home or they're supposed to eat in the house?
Okay. No, and I'm glad you asked that question again. Somebody had asked it already.
Acha.
So the food that is distributed from the food banks
Ji.
is not cooked.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it's a bag of groceries.
I got
Right?
it. Okay.
And for the same reason that initially, remember, we talked about the fact that in India
Ji.
and Pakistan, we equate homelessness with food, with hunger.
Right.
Here, most people, except for a couple of cities like New York and San Francisco and Austin now, but most people have a roof over their head.
Okay.
Right? So we don't want to take their dignity away. We want them to receive groceries, and most food pantries will allow them to walk around and pick the things that they want.
Okay, I did not know
So
that.
we try to give them almost a grocery store experience
At no cost.
at no cost.
Okay. Now,
Right?
yes, one more question, Anna. Is the difference between soup kitchen and food bank or
Yes.
pantry? Can you make a little bit
Correct.
clearer?
So the soup kitchens are the pantries that serve homeless people,
Okay.
right? Because they don't have a place to call their own, and they won't be able to cook food.
Okay.
So they are the ones who depend on cooked meals.
Okay, that's the difference. Okay.
Yes.
Now, when Aradhana and I were in New York City,
Gee.
we both volunteered. Whenever we travel, we try to volunteer at the local food bank, and we volunteered at the soup kitchen in Harlem.
Mhm.
And we were there for the entire shift, and we served for the holiday meal, right, Aradhana?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
Thanksgiving maybe. Yeah.
holiday Thanksgiving meal.
Yeah.
Boy, we were touched because there were people who walked in with the shopping cart. That means the entire livelihood is in that shopping cart, and they put it on the side. They came in to get a hot meal that we all served, right? And we saw that happen. I said, "Oh my goodness!" So there is a place for the soup kitchen for those who do not have a kitchen, and then there is a place for pantry for those who have fallen on hard times.
Okay.
Right, but they still have a kitchen that they can take the food to, and they can cook it for their families, and they can eat at the family table.
Correct. One more question I'm trying to put up here is to make it a little interesting and putting all the question as much as possible.
Yes.
See, adopted land, we came here and we saw we are trying to help the hungry, whatever. At the same time, the motherland we came from, there's a major problem than this country. So we have any kind of vision towards that also, that to reach that goal?
So Raj and I are firm believers in, and I actually equate immigrants to an Asian bride who has responsibility to her parents,
Gee.
but also responsibility to her sasural.
Oh, okay. All right. So,
Right?
Acha.
So we believe that as much as we need to help our motherland, we also need to help our karma bhumi, is what you
Bhumi.
call it.
I have
And-
another question from St. Louis. A doctor, she writes, we do have a food pantry run by ICNA that distribute food to our Desi, Arabs and other African people for your information. So,
Great.
any idea about that? Also, you can throw some light on that. Go ahead, please, Raj.
No, that is wonderful.
That's fabulous.
I mean, I think these are things that we are also discovering.
Acha.
We are very happy to learn that
Uh-huh.
it is. In fact, if whoever has said that to you,
Right.
if they can go to hungermeetout.org, there is a contact form. They can send us that information
Gee.
so that we can also let other food banks in other
Areas.
states know
Huh.
that, hey, here's a community focused pantry.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Right, and we can maybe learn from each other. I mean, one of the key things Aradhana and I bring from our corporate world, we do not want to reinvent the wheel.
Okay.
We want to make sure if somebody else is doing a great job, we want to leverage that, and we want them to look like heroes. You know,
Join
I
hands with.
want to also go back to your earlier point about there is a need in Asian countries, India, China,
Correct,
Pakistan,
right,
etc. We cannot take our Hunger Mitao model the way it exists today
Uh-huh.
and place it there because of the lack of the food banking system,
Okay.
right? However, you know, and every time we visit India, anytime anybody reaches to us from India and says, hey, we want to start Hunger Mitao, we give them the template. We
Okay.
tell them that, you know, let's put a food banking system in place first.
Okay.
And then let us figure out, you know, how to engage the community.
Yes,
you know.
right. People should is very important, I think. Right. People.
Exactly. Very
Okay.
true.
One more question I have for both of you is: what is the difference between Meals on Wheels and the project we are talking about? Is there any difference? You can talk about it a little bit.
So Meals on Wheels is almost like a pantry for the food bank.
Okay.
They receive a lot of their groceries from food banks.
Meals. Okay. Okay.
Meals on Wheels, however, only serves cooked food,
Okay.
and it takes it to people who are
Disabled.
not mobile,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. Okay.
So they're a great partner, and we have a very good partnership with Meals on Wheels.
Throughout the country or just your area?
I know for sure we have it here, but I'm sure at several food banks, that is one of the partnerships.
Yeah.
So we
One
brought
thing-
in once Meals on Wheels on broadcast, and they were also trying to promote that. So we saw some vans delivering food to our neighbors around you who are disabled, as you said. That's very
Right.
interesting. All right. So talk about the prospects and future. What Bollywood Talent Club and its members can do. So try to talk something encouraging to motivate them. Please go ahead, one of you first, and then other one can follow.
Well, I would say the first thing is thank you for listening. Do a little bit of research. Look up hungermitao.org
Gee.
because we tried to curate some information
Right.
to let people know how much hunger is around us
Gee.
here.
Yeah.
Sometimes, most times, we don't see it and we think, oh, food stamps hain.
Ha,
So
ha, 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 ha.
food stamps are a supplemental resource.
Acha. Okay.
During COVID,
Mhm.
there was an emergency allocation.
Gee.
So, people were slightly okay, but Mr. Biden has called off the emergency. Now we are no longer in
Acha.
an emergency.
Okay. Okay.
And those extra benefits got taken away.
No kidding. Huh? Acha. Okay. Huh,
And,
huh.
and a family of 4 receives like $24 a week.
So, Dr. Nathan, I will share a few other things with you. 40% of America
Gee.
is only $400 away from a crisis. That means 40% of America, 300 million people, that is what, roughly 120 million people,
Right.
if they should get into a car accident or somebody gets sick and they need only $400, they would not know where to get it. That's 40% of America.
Unplanned.
62% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck.
Because of their
savings.
habits, you mean? They overspend?
But now I think that's a very good point, and we, Aradhana and I, we try to stay away from judging, because that is a very, that is a very, very core issue of the country. And that is way beyond what we can address, because then you have to get into politics and the Republicans and Democrats have to be at the table and everybody has to agree. So we said that is something that is going to be very difficult.
Tough call.
So we just kept our focus on, let's make sure nobody goes hungry. That's what we said, right? And then once we know that, we are able to feed people, so people know that they can turn to the food bank, and through generosity of communities like the Indian community, the Pakistani community, the Bangladesh community, the Chinese community, if we all get involved, we'll make sure nobody is going hungry. Then we can do what we call wraparound services, which is feed the line and then work with them to figure out how can we get them back on their feet so we can shorten the line.
That's the key. Because you give a fish to a person, eats only one time. If you teach how to fish, are we also focusing on that vision?
Yes,
exactly.
That is also a very major initiative with every food bank.
Yeah.
Okay. That is the key, I think, to really.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the
few more stats I want to share with you. As I mentioned to you, in 2017, when we launched this thing, we set an ambitious goal of 1 million meal that the Indian community will provide. I want to share some numbers with your listeners, with your folks who have joined in. In 7 months after we got into the awareness session, once the community understood the magnitude of the hunger issue, in 7 months, we crossed the first million meals.
Wow.
In 5 months after that, we crossed the second million meal. And then everybody started taking notice. And I want to share with you, there are people who say, oh, the Indian community, the Desi community, they don't necessarily give, they only give back to India and the home country. They don't give locally. I want to share with you one thing about that. In the last 5 years, what we learned is that the Indian community is the most generous community. The Desi community is the most generous community. We are an educated community. We are an immigrant community.
Affluent community.
The value of a hard-earned dollar. So we just don't give the dollar to just because somebody asked.
Correct.
We do due diligence. So in our awareness, that due diligence was done by them. They asked us tough questions. They came and toured the food bank. They volunteered. And once they were convinced that Hunger is really an issue in this adopted land of ours, and food banking system is the best way to address that issue. And then they got involved. And today, I'm proud to say to you, Dr. Nathan, that we now have 7 chapters around the country. And in the last 5 years, the Indian American community has provided 50 million meals here in America.
Meals.
Through Hunger Mitao.
Right. So when we say meals,
Meals is basically what the food banks, each food bank has a different way of measuring it depending on efficiency, etc.
Correct. Okay.
Here in North Texas, $1, they can provide 3 meals.
Interesting.
Yes. And the reason is for 2 reasons. Let me share with you. Number one, a large part of the food that they get is donated food, right? Number two, the food that is actually sorted and packaged, etc., is done by volunteers.
Okay.
So in both cases, there is no cost. So
exactly.
the cost is more associated with receiving, storing, and distributing.
Okay.
And for that reason, they're able to provide 3 meals to $1. But let me share with you something really exciting for New York City. The New York City Food Bank can provide 5 meals to $1.
Per day?
Can you believe it? 5 nutritious meals for $1. That is what the New York City Food Bank can provide.
Oh, 5 meals. That's
Yes.
Interesting. But every day, once a week.
Pardon me?
no, not to the same person.
Not the same. It's just the ratio I'm talking about. So let's say if they raise $1 million, over the year, that they can take that $1 million to get 5 million meals out to the boroughs and other places where the needy are.
Okay. Few quick questions for both of you. Are these food banks or pantries open every day of the week?
No.
Okay.
5 days. I mean, food banks are open 5 days a week.
Okay.
Right? Pantries, depending upon the need in that area. Sometimes an area may have very limited need. So a pantry may be borrowing space in some other business's location and open for, let's say, 4 hours after people are done working, 4 hours a day or 10 hours a week. And people who live in that area are informed of that.
Okay. Let me just recap a little bit. Food bank is the one that gets the food from the donors.
Yes.
And they distribute to the pantries, the one where people go and make the money.
Yes.
I have maybe not a very great question. A lot of people have raw material, like we can donate, for example, rice or expiration date. Expiration date means it's not unhealthy food, right? It's for the, what do you call expiration date, and how date
good till date and all that.
What does that mean? Actually, those people can donate that also to
yes.
food banks?
So most food banks, there's a Good Samaritan law across the country. And most food banks will be able to distribute merchandise that has an expiration date within a few months or which has just gone over by a few months.
They allow it. Okay. No liability issues.
No liability issues.
Another question is, are these food banks and pantries are liable for any kind of lawsuits?
No, they're not because of the Good Samaritan
law. Okay, makes sense. That people donate with good heart, then they don't want the thing behind their back carrying always the fear.
Right, but every food bank also checks before they distribute stuff out. Because if produce, for instance, one of your questions was, do the food banks only distribute dry food and cans or other stuff? Almost 50% of everything that a food bank distributes is now produce and protein.
Perishable items.
Yes. So there's a very big push. It used to be back in the day that food bank just meant canned beans.
Correct. Yes.
Not anymore, because the food banks also understand that they have skin in the game when it comes to nutrition that the community is receiving.
Okay. And the food banks and pantries keep a list, Ratna, about donors who really give the food so that they can track back in case there's any problem with the product?
The pantries know and they call them clients, the people who come there. So pantries are in touch with the clients that they are serving.
Okay.
and they manage that.
And
And then the food bank works with them to
Pantry.
make sure that they are managing. So there's no duplication of effort there.
Okay.
Now, if once in a while, if there's a food bank for health reason
Gee.
or whatever, they're mismanaged, then the food bank will just take them out of the ecosystem. Then they are, so
elimination.
they have to live up to their requirements.
But to
Standards,
your
okay.
question, just recently there was an issue with peanut butter,
Correct.
right?
Right.
And food banks are very dependent on peanut butter because it's a very shelf-stable protein,
Okay.
right?
Uh-huh.
So I remember that time our food bank notified every pantry that peanut butter was sent to. And the pantries were then able to communicate with the clients who came there.
We call them. So the
Yeah.
donors have their name, address, everything with the food bank or the pantry. That's right. Okay.
The pantry has, whether they have their addresses or they'll put up a sign, one way or the other, people are communicated with.
Yeah.
If someone wants to volunteer, they have to contact the pantry or to the food bank.
Food bank. So some pantries, depending on the size, may also need some volunteers, for distribution. For example, some of the pantries are drive-through pantries, so the people will drive up. So you need volunteers to put boxes of food or groceries
Right.
in the trunk. So so it all depends on the area, but food bank definitely depends on volunteers, and many of the pantries do too.
Before we wind up, I just want to bring a question. Like you guys, Hunger Mitao is not a 501c3, it's not a corporation, it's just a organization. Like we want to promote that, right? So
Yeah.
is our Bollywood Talent Club is not a business. I've been doing for almost 12 years now. All right.
Correct.
People come, people sing. A lot of doctors come. They talk about it. Just like social awareness, a lot of projects. So if you're more than welcome to keep coming as many times as you want to promote this. So in what way Bollywood Talent Club can play a role? Because we cater most to the Desi. We have about 2,000 members. All right.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So how much or how can we really contribute towards the effort what we are working? If we work together with Bollywood Talent Club, any issue bring up, we can project it and keep on showing to the people and sharing it. So you go ahead
That'd be
and
great.
thought on that, both of you.
So right off the bat, we need your help because next week, Hunger Free America, which is another organization in the same space,
Ji.
and they run the largest food stamp program in the country,
Ji.
and they saw what Hunger Mitao has done, what the community has done,
Right.
and they are recognizing
Ji.
the community for stepping up and doing something so revolutionary
Ji.
like Hunger Mitao.
Uh-huh.
So next week on Thursday
Ji.
at the View at Battery, I believe,
Battery Park.
the Battery Park
Okay.
in New
Downtown
York
Brook,
City.
Manhattan. Yeah. Okay. Uh-huh.
Right. So at that location next week on Thursday
Ji.
around 6 o'clock,
Ji.
they are having a program.
Ji.
I would request everybody to visit hungerfreeamerica.org.
Ji.
Right on their main website, you will see information about this event.
Okay.
And Consul General of India is going to be there.
Ji.
Sony TV is planning to do a exclusive program on Hunger Mitao.
Acha.
They will be there. So I request, more and more Indian American community, Desi community people to be there
Ji.
in the audience.
Ji.
So please do that. And also to your 2,000 some members that you have, I believe I already sent the press release to you. If I have not, I'll send you the press release that was put out by Hunger Free America.
Okay.
If you can forward it on to all of them,
Ji.
in that information about the program is there, and it will be awesome. I mean, it is both Aradhana's and my vision, that won't it be great that all of us, because this 50 million meals was not made possible by Raj and Aradhana.
Correct.
It was made possible by the Indian American community.
Correct.
So
Correct.
they need to be there to join in and
Celebrate
this thing. I do also want to share one other thing, before I forget. We started this with the Indian community, almost like a hypothesis to prove that this can work.
Can work. Yes. Yes.
But our vision always was, if it can work for one community, we can replicate it to other communities.
Multiple. Yes. That
Dr. Nathan, you'll be happy to know we shared this model with the Chinese community
Wow.
during the thick of the COVID.
Uh-huh.
And guess what? We mentored them. We shared the entire model. The Chinese version of Hunger Mitao is called Ni Hao, and
Achha.
it is up and running.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
and last October, around Diwali, we shared it with the Hispanic community. And it is called Sinhamre,
Acha.
and they are up and running.
Okay. Okay.
So any group of people, anybody, so, I mean, I'm looking for somebody from Pakistan. If they want to step up and say, I want to lead it for the Pakistani community, we will share the model.
Or Bangladeshi.
For the Bangladesh community, we will share this model. So
Okay.
it's an open source model.
You don't have to be a doctor. You don't have to be a lawyer. You don't have to be an
No.
accountant. Could be anybody.
We
Businessman.
are not doctors or lawyers. We are not.
Right.
Very good,
You
really
just need to have passion.
Yeah.
I understand. All right. So nice talking to you in the closing.
Have
So
any
let me
questions?
thank you for anything else before you close up. You have to share anything?
No, thank you. And if you mentioned you have about 2,000 members, we would be happy to set up a donation link at Feeding America for you.
Mhm.
And anytime your members want to make a donation, they can just go right to that link and make a donation
That's to Food America.
to Feeding America.
Feeding
Yes.
America. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And because your members are all over the country,
All over the world.
all over the world.
That's great.
So, we'll set that up. I'll communicate with you.
Let me
Yeah,
know.
and
Yes,
Dr.
yes.
Nathan, the power of that, what Aradhana just
I
mentioned,
just want to
is
Mm-hmm.
make
the
one correction. It's Namath.
Namath.
Like Joe Namath. Like Joe Namath.
Yeah, Joe Namath. That's right, Dr. Namath.
Yeah.
So Dr. Namath, the power of what Aradhana just mentioned,
Gee.
by having your own exclusive link, then you can track how many meals your group has made possible.
अच्छा
समझिए अगर आपके ग्रुप ने अगर समझे $1,000 ना डोनेट किए हैं
Mm.
और न्यूयॉर्क सिटी फूड बैंक को डोनेट किए तो दैट इज 5,000 मील्स
Mm.
राइट
Yeah.
और दैट्स एन एवरग्रीन लिंक तो आप है ना कभी भी कोई प्रोग्राम कर रहे हो कभी भी somebody feel generous किसी की बर्थडे है वो बर्थडे मनाना चाह रहा है instead of gift they say make a donation to this place and that all adds up and then you can say that this Bollywood group of yours or this whatever community group it is that's your link and you can track how many meals you made possible in a quarter to quarter year to year etc.
Acha. So since we are on air, I would like to just briefly check with you how to do this. We do broadcast every night.
Okay.
Sometimes twice a day we do, all right? And we open up like quiz program for people to answer quiz question after singing. I think I sent you a link, I guess. So when they answer the question, can we ask them to donate for these kind of causes if they're willing to do it?
Why not? I mean, so I look at it that you are giving people an opportunity to make a difference.
Uh-huh.
Whether they take that opportunity or not, it's up to them.
Gee.
But you have to at least present the opportunity.
Uh-huh.
I'll give you a simple example.
Gee.
A Thai organization, which is very well known, Technology Indus Entrepreneurs,
Gee.
I believe they represent over $1 trillion of collective businesses done by various entrepreneurs.
Acha.
So Technology Indus Entrepreneur Dallas chapter has adopted Hunger Mitao.
Oh, okay.
So they basically said, you know what, we don't want to be, ek maine kisi ko diya, ek maine kisi ko diya, then you kind of don't even track it. You forget about that, right? So they say, we are going to just simply support feeding the hungry through Hunger Mitao. So we created a link for them.
Okay.
Right? And abhi to 3-4 mahine hi hue, they have already crossed over 10,000 meals.
Acha.
Right?
Right.
And when they report back to their members, their CSR initiative, corporate social responsibility initiative, they are able to say that here is something that we were able to give back to the community.
I have a person right now, she's like, I am ready to do that. I'm ready to do whatever you're asking for. So there are people who are, she just writes here, Nina,
Awesome.
I'm ready to do.
I love that, Doc. That's great to hear that. That is the spirit we need,
I think so. So I think we will work together, Raj and Aradhana, as if you're trying to Hunger Mitao present kar rahe hain program. So if you're interested, some kind of, you'll have in between some song, people can come and sing a song and they can donate whatever suggestions you make to whichever, like to Feed America, feeding. So that could be worked out. So as Aradhana said, we'll be in touch and work further on this project and bring it on. Hopefully, I would love to do something for India also because I'm helping people through Amazon groceries.
Yeah.
Families who are in need, I mail from Amazon.India and they deliver right there. I've been doing for 3 years, all right? So we want to
That's great.
expand it because people, food and education is too important thing, especially for women in India. That's my kind of a hardcore kind of a project, you know. So definitely I like to take your guidance and support in those projects also and be part of this. We can spread this through online. You can go throughout the world.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
So it
exactly.
doesn't matter where the community is, Indian, all over the world, Asian, Pakistani, Bangladesh, everybody. So
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल anywhere, you know, I mean, इंसान है.
exactly, that is the
You know,
spirit.
as far as I am concerned, we are all human beings and we have to help each other out.
Yeah.
So that's why sometimes people say, oh, you are raising funds from the Indian community. Is that food going to Indian community?
Exactly.
I said,
No,
going
no,
to
no.
anybody who is hungry.
Yes, human being.
You know, that is the
yes.
spirit with which we are moving forward.
इंसान की औलाद इंसान बनेगा, इंसान की भूख
Exactly,
इंसान मिटाएगा.
Exactly.
हम लोग actually, we also run a radio show here
अच्छा.
in North Texas.
अच्छा.
We have a weekly radio show.
जी.
It's the Hunger Mitao radio show. We get 30 minutes on the air on the local Indian channel, FM 104.9
Texas.
here in North Texas.
Plano.
And our signature song is जोत से जोत जगाते चलो प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो
भूख की गंगा बढ़ाते चलो.
भूख की गंगा मिटाते चलो, right?
बुझाते चलो. That's a good one. Yeah.
Right.
I think you can also come and sing a song or two. People will love. We will bring in people here. Interaction कर सकते हैं because Zoom पे तो काफी हो सकता है ना. So very nice talking to you guys.
मैं अगर गाऊंगा तो आराधना बोलेगी आज गाने
जिद ना करो.
जिद ना करो. Just kidding.
आपको भी
Now
सिखा
is the
देंगे.
time to have
Don't worry
fun,
about
right?
it. All right. So nice talking to you guys. Hope to meet you again soon. All right. Good luck on your program. All right. You send me the link. I'll try to put it there and see what our people can, members can do it, and we'll be involved more having this kind of volunteer and community help programs. You know. All right. Okay. Na?
Bilkul. And anybody who's listening and they want to meet with us, we are in New York next week
Ji.
from Monday evening onward, Tuesday onward.
Ji.
We are actually going to also, we're looking at starting a Hunger Meetup chapter in Long Island.
Wow. Okay.
The Long Island Food Bank reached out to us and they said, can you please start Hunger Meetup there? So
Ji.
we are going there to visit them also.
Okay.
So, and I would request and urge everybody, come and join us on the 11th event. I think entry ticket is $200, but I already found out some insider information
Ji.
that the gifts that they're giving are worth $300
Acha. Okay.
because they have been donated by
To each attendee.
to each attendee. The gift basket that they have put together is
Right,
worth
right.
$300.
That's
So
interesting.
I mean, you'll get your money back right away, and know that the $200 is going to Hunger Free America, which is a very good organization.
Definitely. I think it's a good cause and noble cause also. Yeah, book
Indeed.
it out. That's very nice. So thank you very much, Aradhna. Thank you very much, Raj, Asawa.
Thank you, Dr. Nehmat.
I would see you again. Okay, thank you. Good night. All right, take care.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Good
Yo,
night.
Thank you to
Bye,
your
bye,
audience.
bye. Good
Good night
night.
to everyone.
Good
Bye-bye.
night. Good night.